Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Colton Brown, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Sunday afternoon. It's a day off work, which is nice. Did take today off, which is good. So I didn't really do a whole lot of working today.
A day of rest?
A day of rest. We're keeping the
Good.
Sabbath holy, so that's good.
Great. Perfect. Well, at the top, I wanted to take a bit of a sidestep from our, we usually like to shoot the shit, whatnot, before we get into things. I wanted to say a congratulations to one Captain Bruce Brown, who has retired from the United States Coast Guard after 36 years of service and went down to Virginia for basically a night, more or less, attended his retirement ceremony, which was unfortunately very small in scope and, very obviously impacted by coronavirus and concerns surrounding that. So it wasn't what he wanted it to be, wasn't what I think he imagined it to be, but it was very nice. I know some people tried to attend virtually through the Facebook recording, which I hear was a technical mess, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
So I had the unique privilege of, I guess, kind of being able to be there, attend in person, and be part of it. So he is an avid listener of this podcast and a probably our most frequent contributor to the Listener's Corner, and he's my dad. So I thought it'd be something nice to say is to say congratulations. I told him in person, of course, but it doesn't hurt to say it again.
Thank you for your years worth of service.
36 years.
Over 3 decades worth of service.
Over 3 decades.
U.S. Coast Guard. It's awesome.
Yeah, very impressive. An uninspiring career, and I gotta say, I'm a little biased, obviously, but he's just a good man, and so congratulations, and I hope you enjoy this episode, because I know you have seen The Old Guard, which is what we're talking about this week. We had a little bit of a conversation about it when I was in Virginia. I hadn't seen it at the time. I have now since seen it, so we could record this podcast here, so I think you'll be tuning in. So yes, we are back to the old Netflix streaming well of new films, new content with The Old Guard. This is where we're at these days. It's the same old conversation week in, week out, but this is actually one that, to be fair, came out over a week ago from when we're recording. It came out the same week as Palm Springs. We decided to do Palm Springs first, and then only really did The Old Guard once it started getting some pretty good reviews, and there wasn't really a better project or a more suitable project to take on. So here we are. And on the note of The Old Guard, any fun facts that you have for the listeners? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, so The Old Guard is actually an Image comic book written by Greg Rucka and drawn by Leonardo Fernandez. And come out in 2017. I think it's like a 5-part, I think it's a 5-part graphic novel, and then they just released the second volume for The Old Guard, and that was released this year. That's he also the writer of The Old Guard also wrote the script, from what I'm gathering.
That is correct. Yeah, Rucka did write the screenplay for the film itself. So,
yep.
One that I don't think either of us have read the comic, don't have any real familiarity with it from what I'm guessing. So one would assume that it would be a pretty faithful adaptation if indeed Greg Rucka is involved. Fun fact for you, I met Greg Rucka once upon a time.
Wow.
At I forget which Comic-Con, but he did a lot of the Wonder Woman comics for the Rebirth line. So I had a brief chat with him. I don't remember the substance of it, but I do recall talking to him and getting a Wonder Woman comic signed. So I think
that's
a couple
pretty cool.
So yeah, cool guy. Great comic book writer. I think the Wonder Woman Rebirth stuff is great. Didn't read his entire run, not gonna lie, but what I did read was really good. I think he's worked on Wolverine, a couple of
Punisher,
big Punisher. I don't think I've read anything that he's done on Punisher, but
a
prolific comic book writer and a very good one from my limited expertise.
He also wrote another Charlize Theron movie, Whiteout. Well, he did the comic Whiteout. I don't know if he wrote anything on the movie.
I don't know.
But
I don't know anything about that, to be honest. But yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah, so fun facts. I actually have one more fun fact I'll offer up pertaining to the movie, The Old Guard itself. It's directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, and she, in directing The Old Guard, has become the first black woman to undertake a big budget comic book film.
Nice.
So that's an accomplishment that is obviously, now that we've seen, I feel like maybe literally hundreds of comic book movies come and go, is kind of insane, but not surprising, of course, given, everything. America and such. But nonetheless, it's a pretty monumental kind of achievement, and hopefully she'll be the first of many moving forward. I suppose better late than never is the usual adage for these sorts of circumstances. But I thought that was interesting to know. I mean, I think about it, and it's to be blunt, it really hasn't been a lot of women in the director's chair. Patty Jenkins with Wonder Woman. Anna Boden co-directed Captain Marvel, but beyond that, I'm not sure you could really. There might be a couple. Alexi Alexander directed Punisher Warzone. That's, to be fair, that was a while back, but all white women. So there you go. So slow progress, but progress indeed, I suppose.
I've got another. I got another
cool.
fun fact.
Oh, okay. We're just going to go back and forth with fun facts and not actually talk about it, right? I think that's the game.
That's the game right now. The Old Guard is also the nickname for the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment. It's a regiment inside the United States Army. It's got 3 active battalions, and it is also known as the Escort to the President. The regiment is a major unit of the Military District of Washington. It's the oldest currently active regiment in the regular army, and it was organized in 1784. It's the official ceremonial unit of the U.S. Army since 1948. How do you like that?
Now,
total regurgitation of fucking Wikipedia.
Do you think that they ever work with Task Force Wolfhound or whatever it is you have on that mug you have in your home? Andrew has a mug in his home, which I think he got from. Where did you get that from?
I got that mug from Goodwill.
Yeah, I thought it was a surplus store. I wasn't 100%.
I got it from Goodwill. It's an epic fucking mug too. It is fucking cool. But yeah, I don't know. What's the name of that? Task Force Wolfhound, I think.
I don't know. You're the one that has the mug. I just when you started talking about these things, that's what it instantly reminded me of. I don't know. I was just being funny. I'm sure they've worked together once or twice, but anyway, all right. I'm out of fun facts, so I will not be trading anymore with you on that front. But maybe some will come up when we talk about the Old Guard a little bit later. Some news this week, not a ton. I think 4 pieces in total, so shouldn't be too bad on that front. It has been. This is actually the first time we've recorded on a Sunday, I feel like, in a while. We've been kind of. I think we started with our Sunday as our usual day of recording, and then it kind of shifted to Monday, Tuesday / whenever the hell we could do it kind of timeline. So.
We've been rocking the Monday, Tuesday for I feel like since you at least started school back, yeah.
A while, yeah. I think it's been a while since we've convened on a Sunday, but alas, here we are. But I say that to point out that the turnaround from recording the last episode to recording this one has been less than a week. So there's not as much news, but that's the side benefit of that is. Well, we're not going to be here all day talking about news. So the first piece of news that we are going to talk about is another Netflix film coming in August 14th, a day after my birthday, I might add, called Project Power, starring Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Got some super-powered action in this. Popping pills gets you some superpowers for 5 minutes. I think that's kind of the
premise, yeah.
The premise of it. We had a trailer for it, an official trailer for it. What'd you think about this one? Any interest?
Yeah,
to you?
I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx. I'll watch them.
It's a solid duo right there.
It's they're cashing in on the superhero train. I guess the idea is original because there's no movies about popping pills and turning into a superhero, unless you're thinking like the Bradley Cooper movie. I think that one's Limitless.
It gave me, well, it's like Limitless plus superpower. Like Limitless was just like, wasn't he just like super smart or something? Wasn't that kind of, I guess that's a super,
right?
That's a superpower, right? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so maybe it's an expansion of like, I saw this, and what if it turned you into the Human Torch for 5 minutes and then you exploded in a bathtub? What do you do?
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, something to watch on. I mean, let's be honest, our choices these days are pretty fucking limited. So I mean,
all right, let's turn on Netflix. All right, we got something there. All right, what do you got? Hulu, Palm Springs. All right, cool. Disney, what do you got? What do you got on tap? Nothing. All right.
Well, they had Hamilton, sir. You could watch Hamilton again.
Well, they had Hamilton. Yeah, you can always watch Hamilton again. 2 hours and 40 minutes of glory. I still haven't done it yet, for the record. I won't talk about it when we catch up later. But I have not had an opportunity to relive Hamilton. Maybe after we record. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's. I agree. It's. Standards are lower these days. You yearn for new content. Now, granted, we have an immense backlog of things that we know are good and have been good that we just haven't had a chance to get around to at any point. But at the same time, there is, it's nice to have that new thing that comes along that, you go in collectively and experience together type
That's
thing.
right.
They used to do that in a thing called a movie theater, if you recall, back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you might go see a Bloodshot with Vin Diesel as the last film you've seen in theaters
before the plague,
before the dark times, before the Empire. I think it looks fine. It's I like superpowers. I think that I'm not expecting anything great from it, but I didn't feel compelled to click the trailer off halfway through. I thought it's an interesting enough premise that it could be fun for a couple-hour ride.
That's it.
Some effects. The effects looked good from the trailer. Good cast.
Has Netflix stopped fucking filming? Like, what is their backlog like? Surely they got to be slowing down, right?
It's a great question. I assume at some point, yeah. I don't know, because I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, this presumably must have filmed early this year, late last year, or something like that, if I had to guess. Oh my God. This thing filmed in 2018. Holy shit.
Okay, so is that to say that they're like, fuck yeah, bring on the plague. It doesn't matter. I mean, we've got 2 years worth of...
I don't know. Like, it's between, like, they're going to be in a position of like, look, we're fine, but we'll also just buy all your shit too. Like, you're like, no theaters, no problem. We got Netflix for you. So like, I think between their own original content that they've probably just got, this backlog of themselves and any future purchases that they take on from, studios that are like, no, we just want to cut our losses. Like, I think Netflix is apparently doing okay. They did put out the, the top 10 most popular Netflix films. Did you see that recently? Mm-mm. It's not part of the news, but I guess we are talking about Netflix, so I suppose it's somewhat worth talking about. I think Extraction was the number one all time. I forget it was many millions of views, but I don't remember the exact number. But I think Extraction, the Chris Hemsworth one.
Yeah, okay.
I think that was like number one all time, and I feel like that was like right when like lockdown started, or at least roughly around that time. So it's just like, of course, I think I guess there was Tiger King initially, and then Extraction I think might have been the first movie that came around. So yeah. So anyway, Project Power comes out August 14th on Netflix.
Did have a catchy song. Was it like a Project Power, like power? Like, I
don't know.
That's kind of cool. Anyways.
Yeah. Apparently, the script is written by the guy that is co-writing The Batman with Matt Reeves, which is just kind of interesting. Like, apparently Project Power is his first script that he wrote, and, he wrote it in 2018, around the time that it was filmed. So, I don't know. It's interesting that it's such a quick or such a long turnaround between photography and release, but we'll see what it looks like. Maybe we'll cover it. We'll see. There might not be anything else that comes around August 14th that strikes our fancy. So there you have it, Project Power. Moving along, we have another trailer, a teaser this time, a Red Van teaser for something that is very different, I think. A movie called Possessor. It is being released by Neon, who put out Palm Springs most recently, put out Parasite as well. I feel like they're kind of hitting that A24 type mark of...
That's right.
Putting out some weird indie, or I guess, just not your usual brand of film type films, I guess, in a way. So this is a It's described as a sci-fi thriller per the YouTube description. Felt a little bit more horror-esque to me from the teaser.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess maybe it's a bit of both, perhaps. It's from writer-director Brandon Cronenberg, who is the son of the David Cronenberg, who is himself a famous director who's worked on many things. Scanners, I think, is kind of what I'm thinking of, like big, like body horror type films, and it feels like father, like son from the trailer anyway. It's about a corporate assassin who uses brain implant technology to take control of other people's bodies to execute high-profile targets. Now, I didn't really get any of that from the teaser, so that's why I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So you get a sense of it. So whether you're talking about what you saw from the teaser or from that little description of the plot, how you feeling about Possessor? Anything that's up your alley?
Yeah, I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, looks cool.
It does look cool. The sound, that trailer music was fucking incredible.
Trailer music was good.
The trailer was really fucking cool to watch too.
It looks like like an artsy, not for everyone kind of flick, but maybe perhaps for a film for Andrew and Colton type of flick.
Yeah.
So
I think the premise sounds cool too.
Yeah,
it's a little bit fucking Inception, but a little bit more edgy. Not about sleep, about fucking. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a real cool idea. The idea that she gets stuck, which is fucking crazy. It seems like she gets stuck in someone's head, I think is what it said at some point.
Yeah.
This was based off of something. I remember reading about this movie.
Oh, okay.
Months ago. Maybe when it was released at was it Sundance it was released at?
Yes, I believe Sundance. I think it.
I can't remember what I read, but
premiere.
I remember hearing about it at some point. So that's a pretty vague comment, but anyways, it looks really fucking cool. It looks really edgy. The poster looks terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's also got Sean Bean. So
does it now?
Yeah.
Was in there in the teaser?
I've got the Googs up.
Oh, I see. So he's just in the cast list. And say I didn't remember seeing him in it. Andrea Riseborough is like the main character. I see Jennifer Jason Leigh, Sean Bean, in there as well. So yeah, I'm in. I'm down.
Who's Christopher Abbott?
As they say.
What was he in? It Comes at Night. That's what it was.
Oh yeah. Okay, he was in that. All right.
It Comes at Night.
He was also in The Center. Mason Tonetti. From just looking at his Wikipedia, so that might be
that's where I recognize him from.
Where you're seeing this man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool. Yeah, so that's cool. Anyways, it looks really. We still need that fucking movie to come out. The one with the king with the crown on fire.
Green Knight.
Yes. When is that coming out?
TBD. As is the case with Possessor. TBD.
Jesus.
These are movies that they clearly want to have a theatrical release for, but. When is that going to happen? Who's to say? I don't know. I mean, I think, look, your No Time to Dies, your Black Widows, your Tenets, like, I want to see those in the theater, and I'll wait and see those in the theater. Your Green Knights, like, I want to see those in the theater too. I guess I shouldn't say that I don't want to see them in the theater, but like, I'll take that shit VOD or something along those lines. Like, I don't need to like risk my life in a theater. I'm not going to risk my life for the other ones, to be fair, but they don't need that IMAX type thing. Like, I'd be happy to plop $15-$20 on them and just have them in 4K or something like that, kind of at my disposal. You know what I mean? Because I just want to fucking see them. And I think that you could probably get still a pretty good experience.
I wish. I'll tell you what I wish.
What do you wish?
I wish A24 would just have their, of course I said the same thing for Criterion. I have it downloaded on my TV and I haven't subscribed to it. But if A24 came out with their own subscription platform, I think I'd probably be in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think A24 has done a pretty good job of putting their shit on Amazon, but it's usually like a window. Like, I feel like there's like a 6-month window before it kind of goes up there, but
the fucking look at this shit. If this does not get you fucking excited, I don't know what will. Come on, load, you son of a bitch. Look at this. This is fucking incredible. Hold on. I don't want to be ambiguous for the listeners, but I don't want to spoil the surprise for you either.
Oh, okay.
Look at that.
Now, does it have the price tag on there or not? This
$35.
$35. Okay, I'm loading it up. The Green Knight, a fantasy role-playing game. Original tabletop role-playing game inspired by David Lowery's upcoming fantasy film, The Green Knight. Well, that's pretty fucking cool.
A Quest for Honor starter set includes Game Master's Guide with rules of play, official encounters, and A24 bonus quests. Map of the realm, 5 character sheets, and 20-sided die. Fuck. I need it.
Uh-oh. Someone's in trouble.
Fuck.
Are you in danger?
Hunter, Knight, Sorcerer, Bard, and Noble are the character sheets. Oh my goodness, I'm all in.
All right. Well, he's all in. Report back once your order ships and arrives and you play it. How's that? That'll hopefully tide you over until the Green Knight makes its way to theaters.
What's really lame is the group of people that I can play this with is quite limited. I don't think Sarah and the girls will be into the Green Knight fantasy role-playing game.
I suppose that's understandable, but they just need to broaden their horizons. That's all.
Orders will ship by August 7th, and that's just in a little bit. I think I'm going to add it to the cart, guys.
Do it.
Listeners Corner, if anybody would like to play the Green Knight fantasy role-playing game remote, we could get you in to play remotely into the we could do it over the Discord, and we can play a little role-playing game remotely.
Well, there you have it.
Heard it here
the
first.
offer is on the table. All right, let's move along to our next piece of news, an unsurprising piece of news, but one that, makes us sad nonetheless. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Once Upon a Time, was expected to debut on Disney Plus in August. Newsflash, it is July. August is next month. Oh my God, what is happening? Falcon and Winter Soldier will not be making its August premiere date on Disney Plus because production has been shut down on it for quite some time, and I think they had about 2 weeks left of filming when they shut it down. I think it's either supposed to be starting back up in Czech Republic very soon, or maybe it already has started back up. I'm not entirely sure, but kind of understandable delay here, as is the case with all the films and stuff like that, even though it can be, even though it's going to go direct to consumers with the Disney Plus streaming service. If they're not done with the damn thing, it's kind of hard to release the damn thing. And I don't know how they shot it, whether it's sequentially episode by episode or not. It's clear that maybe there's still post-production work that's going to need to be done for a lot of this stuff. So who knows when this is going to come. Hopefully still 2020. But an unfortunate delay, but like I said, an unsurprising and mostly expected one at this point. So yeah, we'll look forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier whenever it does arrive. My guess is that Feige and company, Marvel Studios, kind of still want to maintain the same order of release. With Black, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of connections between the Disney Plus shows themselves or with Black Widow. I'm assuming Eternals probably isn't going to tie in too much with something like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I'm guessing that they want to keep their plan in place as much as possible, and maybe just are going to want to shift things back. But apparently WandaVision is still set to make its premiere in December of this year. I think it had actually finished filming, so maybe that even comes out first, although maybe they want to keep the order of things because they tie into each other somehow. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Mandalorian unaffected. Worth noting, it's still expected to premiere in October. I think because they were able to get everything shot for it that they needed to. So that's good news. At least
Mandalorian's coming out in October this year.
Yeah, season 2, right around the corner. Just a few months. I mean, literally just a few months. It's crazy. What is this?
That's quick.
And just as a side note, the Hawkeye Disney Plus series is still happening. Hollywood Reporter announced that they've hired some directors to work on it. Amber Finlayson, Katie Elwood, who apparently worked together under the nom de plume Bert and Bertie, and Rhys Thomas are directors that are going to work on the Hawkeye series, with Jeremy Renner coming back as Hawkeye, Kate Bishop involved in some capacity, but that's pretty much kind of the only announcement on that. I think Hawkeye's was never going to be a 2020 show, so hopefully it'll be a 2021 debut. Loki will be 2021, and then there's a few others that they've announced, but are probably some time away at this point. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, among them. So, yep, that's what's going on that front. Well, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it. I was ready to move on, but I suppose I should kick it to you in case you have some thoughts. But
no thoughts.
Just a delay. It is what it is. You got to live with it at this point.
Come accustomed to delays. That's it. So
correct. So last but not least, this is story booking or closing. Our news section with some more Netflix news. It's a very Netflix-centric episode. Netflix has made quite the announcement for a future project. So a lot of details to unpack with this one.
Oh, boy.
I'll start with the title. It's called The Gray Man. It is based off of a 2009 novel about the Gray Man, who is a freelance assassin and former CIA operative named Court Gentry. It's a real bad name. Court is not a good... Don't name your kids Court, folks. Don't do it. Netflix is... This is described as Netflix's quote-unquote most financially ambitious feature film. It is intended to have a James Bond level of scale and budget upward of $200 million.
Damn.
This is we're getting
almost
into,
a quarter of $1 billion.
We're getting into Avengers, Marvel Studios type numbers here. And who better to direct this than the Russo brothers themselves? Anthony and Joe Russo to direct this film, which will star Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. So I think that's all the details I have for you there. Ryan Gosling is playing the lead, Court Gentry, and he's going to be hunted across the globe by Lloyd Hansen, who will be Chris Evans's character, and they are former cohorts at the CIA, apparently.
Well, that sounds pretty fucking cool.
Best-selling book series, so obviously there's franchise potential, and clearly Netflix is throwing some serious dough behind this shit. So you're liking the sound of this? Sound pretty cool?
Yeah. Curious to know how much money goes to get to the directors, how much money goes to these stars. This is a high line fucking item here. You got a lot of talent you're paying for. It is 200 million is a lot of money, but you do have some big names in this.
You do have big names, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Russo brothers command a pretty, a pretty substantial salary these days after their
making
impressive
billions.
Run with Marvel Studios.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw, I don't know if it's actually in this article or if it was just from a conversation that I was looking at around it, but the James Bond movies are notoriously expensive, but they're notoriously expensive not only because Daniel Craig and company command some money, but it's because they shoot on location and they shoot practically for the most part. So it's expensive to shoot on location, first of all, especially if you're going to pretty extravagant places. And sometimes shooting practically in those locations can make the expenses even more higher. So if that's kind of what they're aiming for here, then I could certainly see how that budget gets where it is. And surely Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans don't come cheap these days either. So, it sounds pretty cool.
It does sound pretty cool.
Clearly the Russo, or clearly Netflix is all in at this point. All the pieces are on the board. So it just remains to be seen whether they can come together in a satisfactory fashion. But it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. I'm sure this is probably 2 years away at least, if I had to guess. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see what comes of it, I would say. So, I guess we can probably move on into the main content for this week, a Netflix film by the name of The Old Guard, as we have talked about now, written by Greg Rucka, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, based on the comic book of the same name, The Old Guard, by Greg Rucka and Leandro Fernandez. Stars Charlize Theron, Kiki Lane, Matthias Schoenaerts, Marwan Kenzari, Luca Marinelli, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, about a covert team of immortal mercenaries who are suddenly exposed and must now fight to keep their identity a secret, just as an unexpected new member is discovered. All right, so this is yet another one where you have seen this film the day of recording. So another fresh take coming at the listeners, and I would like to hear what that fresh take is.
The Old Guard was okay. It was very entertaining. It had John Wick level of choreography. Like, it was tight. I like the way it was shot. Extraction-esque choreography, I should say. It's probably more in line with that. They were shorter snippets of badass choreography. But it was still really cool when it was there. Like, there's a lot of running around. It's a lot of the characters. It's not a lot of, but there's a healthy balance of characterization and these people grappling with, what is their gift or their curse, depending on how you look at it, of immortality. But it does also, like I said, it balances that pretty well with the action and stuff. You get a little bit of both. Whereas Extraction was just balls to the wall for 2 hours or whatever. This is not that. It is hard hitting when it hits, but like I said, you get a little bit more balance there. Cinematography was cool. Choreography was good. Charlize Theron kicked some ass, for sure. And you have these people that are real good with gunplay, and it's cool. But then they have fucking swords.
They do bust out some swords and some axes, at least one axe.
At least one axe, yeah. And that's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool movie. It's not breaking records with I didn't shed a tear in this movie. It is what it is. You don't go into some of these things with lofty expectations. I got what I expected. No, I would say I got more than what I expected because I didn't expect very much. The bar was pretty low. I thought it was going to be kind of shitty. It's definitely not pretty shitty. I don't think it's shitty at all. I think it's pretty good. I think it's fun if you just want an action flick. It's just it's a nice little 2-hour action flick movie. So that's what I say about it. What do you say about it?
I think it's all right. I think based on the first trailer that we got, I wasn't excited for it. I thought it looked bad. Thought it might have been pretty shitty. I think is the words you used, or really shitty. I can't remember, but I didn't have a lot of expectations walking in, and really the only reason that we're sitting here talking about it is because the reviews were good for it. And so that kind of made me a little bit more curious to see if there's something here. And I definitely think that it's much better than that first trailer indicated. I don't know what the fuck Netflix is doing, but they did the same shit with Eurovision, where it's just like, let's cut together the worst trailer possible for something that's somehow pretty all right, And I felt like this is the same story of just being like, we want to make a real shit trailer for something. All right, you got it, boss. I don't know why that keeps happening, or at least it's happened recently. I don't know why, but it's all right. I think that it's got some stuff in it that's good, but it's not great at anything. It doesn't excel at anything. I think I would stop short of comparing the action. It's similar to John Wick and it's similar to Extraction, but it's a notch below it for sure for me.
Right.
There is some cool gunplay and some limbs getting chopped off with some swords and an axe. But I didn't think the action really wowed me in any way. I thought Extraction wowed me in a few parts.
That's
with
true.
Its choreography. This to me felt a little bit.
This is. I think this one's less brutal than Extraction.
This to me felt a little bit more old hat. Even the John Wick movies, I feel like 1 to 2 to 3 always added something new, and this to me felt like pretty surface level. Like I've seen. Look, it's good. Again, it's not bad. It just wasn't anything that stood out to me, I guess. And I kind of just felt like that way about pretty much most of this movie, is that nothing about it stood out to me. It's not entirely true. There are a few things I think this movie does handle well, but they don't make it a great movie or anything like that. But it's completely serviceable. I think we find ourselves in another circumstance of lowered standards. Theaters are closed. What are you going to do with your time? And I think The Old Guard is the kind of movie that if I saw it in theaters, I would not probably enjoy it all that much. If I quote unquote paid money or whatever, even if I A-listed it, maybe it'd be fine. R.I.P. A-list. I'm sure you will never come back. Side note, we don't know how good we had it. But I think for a 2-hour Sunday diversion, it's completely fine.
That's
you
it.
know? And I don't mean to say that to discount this movie, but it's just not really anything spectacular. The action is good. I think the cast is good without being great. I think, I like Charlize a lot. I think she's good in this. I don't know that she has a whole lot to work with. I don't know that any of the cast really has a whole lot to work with. Like, the characters themselves are kind of interesting. I think Kiki Lane's character is probably the only one that has any sort of anything to work with, and that she has to kind of toe the line between, normal person and immortal. What is that? What the fuck's happening? Kind of thing. Like, that's kind of what she has to do.
It gives them,
whereas everyone else is.
She's the humanity in the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, she's grounding it for an audience.
What's his face performance was pretty good. I'm not going to attempt to say his name.
Okay.
Etwood Farr. I guess I said I wasn't going to attempt. Etwood Farr.
Chiwetel?
Huh?
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Chiwetel, yes.
Yeah, I see, and I thought he was completely wasted in this movie. I think he's a fantastic actor. He
didn't do a whole lot
in this movie. He had fucking nothing to do in this movie.
But he did that last little bit though, where he's talking about his.
He talks about his wife a few times and gets emotional.
And that was a good.
And he's good at that. But that's his character.
That's his thing.
That's his character. And so I just kind of, to me, a lot of this felt like setting the stage. Like, this was clearly like Netflix is going for a franchise with this type of thing, and by the end of it really felt like they were really driving that point home of just being like, we're setting up the old guard, or not quite that level of Suicide Squad-y bullshit, but there's a
T in the ground for sure. They're teeing something.
It felt like this movie was kind of more concerned with setting up sequels than actually doing anything super interesting with what it actually had to play with, which again isn't to say that it's bad. And I feel like I keep backtracking. I just didn't think this movie was anything amazing.
Right.
I thought it was completely fine. Everyone kind of hit the mark as much as they were allowed to, or as much as they were expected to. The action was good without being great. The story is kind of an interesting premise of these immortal beings, and what does that mean? I think in a couple of ways it handles that in interesting fashions of. These are characters that, even though they are immortal, there are facets of that type of life that can be quite difficult or challenging, and it kind of hits a little bit on that, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So I think the lore of it was kind of a cool.
It is. It's a cool idea. See, the problem with the lore though. Like, it's a real cool concept, but it felt mostly surface because they didn't really dig in a whole bunch.
I didn't think so. And they alluded to a couple things, and we got flashbacks and stuff here and there, and I'm like, I think I wanted more of that.
Yeah,
and less of just kind of regular type of action beats, and really even just the character of Niall was, she kind of held the movie back in some ways because it had to do so much legwork to be like, this is what's happening. And like I said, it just really feels like it was setting the stage. And I think a sequel to this could be cool because you wouldn't have to spend a lot of that time, laying the groundwork for basically everything to make any sort of sense. But I felt like there were opportunities that were not capitalized upon within this movie. And I felt like, the villains were kind of nothing.
Who the fuck was that? Who's the worst actor in the movie is definitely the fucking doctor. The doctor, the CEO or whatever.
So this is funny. The CEO of the pharma company is Harry Melling, who is Dudley Dursley from the Harry Potter films.
That's it. I thought he looked familiar.
Little older, a little slimmer these days. But I thought that character just
by far the worst
at all.
Yes.
And so I think that was probably the weakest aspect of the film, is that just didn't work for me at all. But for what this movie is, again, a Netflix film dropped in the middle of a pandemic, you could do far worse. But it's just it needed a little bit more, and I think a sequel could provide a little bit more. But I think as long as you kind of walk in with the right expectations of, we'll see, and I kind of walked in with that of, we'll see, and I wasn't. I don't regret spending my 2 hours with it. I thought it was fine. There's things to enjoy in it. We watched Hamilton and Palm Springs back to back, and this is clearly we're getting back to the Lovebirds and the Eurovisions of the world, of just being like, well, what else are you going to cover? And that's fine in its own way, but it's certainly a change of pace. It's back to more kind of like the boilerplate type things that you kind of expect to get with Netflix films. At least I expect to get with Netflix films. But I will say, just as a
fun fact, I have a fun fact for you. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
There is an old guard. There's an old guard. If you go to oldguardgame.com,
okay,
there is some sort of browser game.
Okay.
Old guard game.
Have you tried out the browser games? And any good?
Says how to play.
All right.
Fight your way through 5 randomized levels by defeating enemies and achieve the highest score in order to win the immortal Netflix account. Huh. Wonder if I can
When the hell is the last time that they've done something like... I feel like movies... I feel like, that shit used to happen all the time of like...
Yeah.
Here's like, you go to the official website and like, here's like a thing that's attached to it. Like, when's the last time you went to an official website for anything? Like,
that's true.
I don't know.
Never.
Just, I don't know. It feels like a weird throwback kind of thing, in a way. I guess probably the one thing I think is worth mentioning about this movie and highlighting, obviously, again, Gina Prince Bythewood, first black woman to direct this, direct a comic book film. I think that's worth highlighting again. But I think beyond that, this is a very diverse cast, which I think is appreciated. And beyond that, it features a pretty prominent gay relationship between pretty major characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Without it being the movie itself. This is not a movie about 2 gay characters. It is a movie about a group of immortals in which 2 of the immortals are 2 gay men in a relationship with each other, and like that's just a thing that is there and is present. And there's like one kind of major scene that highlights that and kind of makes a point to really emphasize that, and it's done in a really nice kind of touching way. But I appreciated that it was more than just this is what it's about, or a very surface level kind of look. We're inclusive too, like it felt like it was coming from a really authentic place, and so I did appreciate that about this particular movie. It kind of went above and beyond in that particular respect, more so than I think most projects of this ilk do.
Right.
So if it does indeed do one thing that is great, I guess I would point to that as kind of being probably its biggest strength. Unfortunately, everything else surrounding that is some mixture of okay to fine, somewhere around there. But yeah, you could do worse, I guess.
You could do worse. There's always room for worse.
It's kind of where I'm at with it. But do you have any other non-spoiler thoughts?
No, that's my only. No, those are my thoughts. It's pretty surface level movie, man.
There's not a whole lot to dig into here, and I don't think that sitting on it for an extra day or two really would have changed our perception of it, moved the needle in any sort of significant way. I don't think so. All right, so let's move on to recommendation then. In that case, we are of course using our COVID-19 pandemic television applied to film scale, which is to say that we can't recommend you to watch this in theaters because good luck. And so we have a 5-tiered ranking scale of very yes at the top, followed by yes, middle ground of totally fine, followed by fine, and then the bottom rung, the worst of the worst, is shithouse. What do you think? Where do you fall?
I think it's totally fine.
Okay.
It was I think it's just a surface level action movie. Didn't really do it, like you say, didn't do one thing really well, but it also didn't shit the bed anywhere either. You know what I mean? I thought it was totally fine.
Bad guy was
the
worst aspect of it.
He was, yes, by far.
But he was in it pretty sparingly enough that it didn't it didn't bring it down. I saw someone compare him to oh God, I wish I had the exact quote on me, but it was basically saying they were trying to play like a version of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, okay.
And I kind of see that, like, he's channeling that a little bit, like, let's just make this as, but like, that's maybe not a thing to channel for your performance, if I may make such a bold statement.
Right.
But I just thought it was an apt comparison. I wish I knew the exact language of it, but yeah, basically just being like, we get it. So yeah, totally fine is where you stand. Sorry,
totally fine. It's totally fine. Like I said, it didn't shit the bed anywhere in particular, aside from the villain. But like I said, the villain, I think, in this movie is, yes, obviously he's an actor, but the looming threat, they establish, I think, relatively quickly, what the real threat is, and that the villain has the capacity to lock these people up. You know what I mean? And so the idea, of that happening, I think, is more menacing than the actual person doing it. You know what I mean? So it's totally, it's whatever. I think it's totally okay. It's totally fine movie. Yeah. That's
all right. Well, I 100% agree. Totally fine. I feel like I haven't handed one of these out in a while. I think you did for Eurovision. I think I went yes. I was slightly more positive on it. But yeah, this for me is totally fine. It is the definition of a totally fine film for me. Like, this is, it's good enough in basically every respect that it doesn't, it's not bad. It's again, you could do far worse, and it's enjoyable for the 2 hours that you will spend with it. But it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing beyond that.
And sometimes that's okay.
Especially now, that's okay. Like I said, you have lowered standards. This is on Netflix. You already have a Netflix subscription. It's not like you're chucking, $20 at this, $10 at this, for something that is included with a pretty robust package. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, figure you watch 5 things on Netflix and this is $2 of your time. I mean, like, fine. You know what I mean? Like, value proposition, I think, is absolutely there. Charlize is great. Charlize is always great, and she's the main character in this, and she's good at it, and it's got a pretty good supporting cast overall. I will say, slight side note here, this is the second thing I've seen Marwan Kenzari in. He also played Jafar at Aladdin. And good news is he's much better here.
Absolutely.
I so miscast in fucking Aladdin. It's so bizarre. And so I kind of appreciated being able to see him in a role that he was clearly more equipped to play. He was far better here, and everyone was good here. And some actors I wasn't super familiar with some of the actors here, and the main cast. Kiki Lane was in If Beale Street Could Talk, and she's amazing in that. But it's Charlize. You watch it for Charlize, and I think if you're doing that, I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay because she's fucking cool and she's badass, and she kills a lot of people. And that's good enough for me. But yeah, that's honestly just about it though. So totally fine is where I stand on The Old Guard. All right, let's continue on into full spoilers for The Old Guard. I don't know that I have a whole lot to say here, but I guess to revisit, at least this is kind of where I think it makes sense to start. I think it does a good job of showing that even when you are immortal, there are some pretty fucked things that can happen to you.
Absolutely. And that fucking Iron Maiden thing.
The Iron Maiden thing is the, like, you just sit and ponder there. Good Lord. That is absolutely wild. And like, just all those sequences were just like, that got under my skin a little bit. I will say, of just being like, can you fucking imagine just literally waking up and drowning for
500 years?
For years. God knows how long. Yeah. I mean,
you have to wait. I was thinking about it. She is literally going to have to drown repeatedly over and over and over again until the water rusts the Iron Maiden. The salt water will have to deteriorate the fucking metal
I was
prison.
reading about this and it's saying kind of the similar things, and people were speculating, well, for the time period where it happened, it's probably not the best metal, but it's still going to take maybe 10 years, something like that, or years at least for that to happen. So you think about even literally just 1 year of being trapped in that. Like
it doesn't take long. It takes a couple minutes to drown.
Yeah, figure 2 minutes maybe, and do the math from there, and how many times are you drowning in that year? I mean, that's how a supervillain is made. Let's just put it that way.
Fucking crazy. You'd lose your fucking mind. You'd lose your mind. Definitely. You'd lose your mind probably just in a couple of days. Just in a couple of days. Oh, it'd be terrible. Anyways,
Anyway,
so
that was easily the most like horrifying thing I thought this movie like really put out there. And even, just like for the other people that were just like just around for forever. And obviously they explore kind of, I think, the most obvious implication of like, well, you're going to outgrow your family and your loved ones, and you don't really want to get too close to anyone because you're always inevitably going to have heartbreak on the end of that. So I think that, and that's, I think, kind of, I think that's a pretty standard kind of understanding of
immortality.
Of that. Yeah. But, and to be fair, the people that do get captured and end up in Dudley Dursley's lab at the end, like, they're not there for that long, but you could just figure like they could just keep killing them over and over again and just have them strapped to the bed for God knows how long. And, and like they'd still be alive to experience all that. And, it's just I don't know. It was interesting to kind of think about the pretty heinous things that could happen when you're immortal. On the other hand, you can't die though, so it's pretty swell, I suppose.
They have to drink copious amounts of alcohol to get drunk. You notice how much they drink?
Yeah, Charlize was she was chugging that on the plane. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's all sorts of different things you can think about. The prospect of it is definitely, it's interesting to think about. She says at one point he tells her Charlize's character has forgotten ways to kill that armies they'll never even know. She's forgotten more ways to kill than an army will ever learn. It's just she's been around since I think 4700 BC. I think is what I read somewhere.
I think I saw that it's maybe established in the comic, but I don't think it was ever clearly stated in the movie. Whereas some of the other characters were later. I think two of them were from the Crusades, which.
One was from like 1800s.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he fought under Napoleon, I think. Yeah, is what they said. Yeah,
1870s or something like that.
Oh yeah, but Andy has been around for a long time. Certainly.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I don't know. Because what are the time periods that it does show?
I don't know. It shows that Iron Maiden lady and Andy in some sort of conflict. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah. And because there was another one that like died for realsies. Yeah. Right? Like he stopped healing from his wounds and died. And I don't remember when that was from. Yeah. I don't know. She's been around for a long time, I guess, is kind of the point.
Let's see here. I'll tell you. No, I got it right here.
Okay, go for it.
4700 BC.
Okay.
Central Eurasia.
Nice.
That's where she comes from.
Well, that's what we call a long fucking time.
So she is old.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense life to have there.
And here's the thing too. If you're just another think about, like, if like your moral compass is pretty good, right? Because obviously these people are being good guys. If you got a pretty good moral compass since 4700 BC, so she's like 60 what? She's like 6,000 years old.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, and she's still fighting in wars like her entire existence for 6,000 years. She's just
conflict to conflict. Yes. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just like say, you know what? I'm gonna impact the world, not in combat, but like I'm going to be like a guiding hand. I'm going to collect money and resources and just fucking influence from behind.
That is one thing that is interesting is like they don't seem to have any sort of financial standing or wealth or anything like that. They're just kind of like
hiding in caves and
bouncing around. They hide in caves. They got the deserted area, town or whatever outside of the airport. And it's just like they're really just slumming it for the most part, and just kind of like, yeah. Well, we'll just take the odd job as it comes along. It's just like, yeah, you think you've been around for a long time, you'd probably figure something out to have a pretty robust kind of network. But I suppose that's kind of what they're angling for at the end with, I feel like the ending with Chiwetel's character is very much like
taking 6,000 years to do it.
we're officially the old guard now. Now we got resources. You're going to pretend, you're going to make sure we don't exist. You're going to get us jobs and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, when you do that a few thousand years ago, you big dumb. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing over there?
It's crazy. That's why I like in the not The Shining, but the sequel to The Shining,
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep. In the Dr. Sleep book, the immortal people that are running around, they're vagabonds and they run around in their RVs and stuff, but they have a vast network of they're fucking loaded, but they're still they're discreet, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say something else too. Forgot.
Well, I guess so she has been kind of this benevolent force throughout history, but I didn't know if I just didn't quite wrap my head around what they were going for, but it was just like, look at all these people they've saved and then they've gone to do good things in their lives. Is that just like a happenstance of just being like I didn't know if they were implying, because it felt like it was a lot of times it's like, yeah, this grandchild of someone you saved went on to do something really good, and I was just like, is there a tangible connection there, or is just the fact that like this person was allowed to exist means that they bettered the world? Is that kind of the idea?
I think it's a through line through the movie is paying it forward.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a pay it forward kind of situation, because they have that sequence in the gas station or whatever when she first realizes she can't heal. And the lady like takes her back in the closet.
Yeah,
and
right. That's
fixes
true.
her
Right.
up. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think there's just a common theme. You help the grandma, and then as a result of your kindness to that person, it transcended a generation and changed the world.
I guess I was trying to figure out, was like, is it something deeper than that? Is like her like some immortal like side effect, is like if I'm in your proximity, like some good thing will be like you will become a good person. I'm just like, this feels a little hokey, but I think I like that idea more. Just a more kind of regular reading of just like no, you do good things and good things tend to happen. You're still in conflict every fucking year because welcome to the world, but all right, I think that works. I think that makes sense. I don't really know if there's much else.
The fucking girl broke out of the Iron Maiden at the end.
Oh, right. Yeah. The obvious, like, kind of
set you up
stinger for the sequel, the old guard
might have a proper bad guy in the next movie.
Oh, yeah. Again, stuck in an Iron Maiden for however long, even if it's just a month, she's a supervillain. Like, what I mean? Like, she is fucked up, and like it's going to be... I'm curious to see what they do with that character. You know what I mean?
And why is she seeking him?
She's seeking him. Oh, and he's an asshole. He betrayed everyone, kind of, in his own way. So he gets banished for like 100 years, or like cut off for 100 years, or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much just kind of the thing. We'll meet back here in 100 years. You're in timeout for 100 years.
Yeah, and
he's all sad about it and mopey.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I do want to see a sequel. I guess we can talk about that. I do want to see a sequel because I'd be curious to see. Like, it's interesting enough. I think the lore is interesting enough. I think there's a better movie to be made with a sequel where you're not, again, laying the groundwork for everything, and you're just kind of rolling right into things with this character that has been stuck in an Iron Maiden for some undetermined amount of time. You've got this guy who's, been kind of cut off from the rest of his group. You have Charlize. I guess we can talk about this. Charlize, as far as we know, is on her last life.
Yeah.
I think they kind of left that open-ended because it was just kind of like, well, is Charlize going to want to come back for a sequel or not? We'll answer it with that, logistical question as opposed to what actually makes the most sense.
And she did say at the end there where he says, "I'll never get to see you again because 100 years you're going to be dead," and she's like, "Well, have a little faith."
Right, and I think they clearly gave themselves an out one way or another if indeed the sequel does come to fruition, which I think is fine. I read online that in the comic, apparently, the whole idea of her losing her power is not in it whatsoever. So that was a wrinkle they added for the film itself, I guess, to give a little bit of dramatic tension, which is one thing, I guess, and I guess another thing, I'm just branching off of things to say. I think this movie does a good job with tension, in spite of the fact that, like, it's pretty low stakes for everyone involved. They're just like, oh, I'll just get shot, in the head a couple times and be fine, like, right. And keep going. Like, it still was interesting in spite of that. I thought that was kind of a nice accomplishment that it had of, how do you make us care about people that we know are not going to die?
Well, here's the thing,
and I don't know that we really cared about them, but it was still interesting, I guess.
How much if you chop out their fucking head?
I did wonder about that.
Do they grow? Do they grow like another, like Men in Black style? They just.
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I definitely wanted to know. That I did think about that because the one guy takes the grenade at one point and it takes a long time to heal. He's just sitting in the chair and his guts are all exposed and stuff like that. But I'm like, yeah, what happens if you just like? Well, they even talked about the one time like, have you ever been burnt? And apparently no one had been burnt alive. And it's just like, I mean, like you could theoretically regenerate from that point. It just maybe would take a long time.
But like a Dr. Manhattan situation where you like have to grow up from the bones.
It does seem like an obvious question that should be answered of, well, what if you just chop their fucking head off? Like do they regrow the head, or do you need to be like,
or does the body grow from the head?
The body, it's like a Deadpool situation, like what is this? Like the head's just like, damn it, come back here,
Takes 6 months to grow a body.
I hope a sequel explores that question, because I think that's got to be a question that everyone has to have, just being like, well, surely there's a way to kill them, right? Like beyond just like when it's the Wolverine regeneration question, right? Of just being like, at some point Wolverine can die, and I think he's come back from being like basically a pure skeleton at one point, but at what point? At what point?
Where do we draw the line?
You're right. Yeah. I want to know. I want to know the answer to that question. I'm glad you brought it up, because I did think about that. I'm like, well, they just chop her head off.
Make it simple. You're telling me in medieval times she never got her head chopped off?
Right, exactly. I was like, I guess if you got like, like a pretty good gouge to the neck, like a Dudley Dursley style neck gouge from an axe, like,
you'd be fine. You could grow that back.
Like I say, you'd be cleaved pretty good, and you'd probably die, but you'd come back. That would heal. But like a full clean head gone, I don't know. That's a tough situation. I don't know. We have questions that need answers. What we're saying. Old Guard 2, come on down. Answer our questions.
Well, we can get in touch with next time you see Ruck, or what's his name?
Greg Rucka. Yeah, I'll hit up my buddy, good buddy Greg Rucka at the next Comic-Con I go to.
Or we can invite him to the podcast. If you're listening, Greg, to the Watch, Review, Repeat, feel free to write us in the listening corner.
It's entirely possible this is explored in the comics, to be fair. Again, I feel like someone, like even an editor, just be like, well, why don't they just chop her head off? And Greg's like, oh, fuck. Shit.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. All right. You have any other spoilerific thoughts on the Old Guard?
I think we've ran the gamut on the spoilers in this
I
surface
do believe
level
so.
movie. Yeah.
As well. Look, it's totally fine, as we've said. It's totally fine. That's it for the Old Guard on the old Netflix. So check it out if you are so inclined. Andrew, have you been up to anything super exciting?
So not anything really super exciting. Played this game recently right. Being last night. It's called the Betrayal in House Hill. Got it at the Walmarts. It's pretty in depth. It's pretty complicated. Only got to play like half of it because one of the players had to leave. But it was pretty cool. I was gonna play Star Wars today, but I didn't get to play Star Wars today. I was busy trying to work on a lawnmower. And I did. Probably the coolest bit of news is I had been watching. So on Facebook, I like this page called, I think, now This Now or something like that. Now This, okay. It's I think that sometimes it's pretty spinny. Politically spinny. They spin it to the left pretty heavy sometimes. But they played a video of this ACLU attorney. and little clippets of it about the Confederate War and stuff. And I thought it was pretty good. So I looked up on the YouTubes. I looked up his full presentation. And it's called The Truth About the Confederacy in the United States. Full version is what the YouTubes is called. And the guy's name is Jeffery something another. Let's see here. His name is Jeffrey Robinson. And he's a top racial justice expert. He also represented Guantanamo Bay detainee in court during like 9/11 and stuff. So he's a pretty renowned lawyer. But it was a super, super, super good presentation. It's a sadly hotly debated thing down here in the South.
Sure.
And it should not be. And I feel like the presentation does a really good job of just like boiling it down to where like why it's a difficult conversation to have for some reason, but at the same time it's these things are difficult to talk about, especially if you weren't taught about it, because the things that he covers in there we definitely weren't taught about. So it's just a really, really, really good presentation if you're intrigued about the Civil War or just systemic racism, or institutionalized racism, I should say. It's definitely a really good. It's just a super good thing, super good presentation. It is long though. I think it's like 2 hours long. So
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, that's what I finished that today. I've listened to it over the course of a couple days. But yep. So I think that's pretty much it. My gutter system works good. I put gutters on the house. Did I talk about this? You
were working on it last time. Had broken some sprinklers.
Sprinklers are still broken.
I think it wasn't quite done last time you spoke on it.
Yeah, so it is now complete. The drainage pipes that are installed that are connected to the gutters, they are working effectively. They're working perfect. When I first installed them, one of the angles on the pipes needed to be adjusted. I needed to put some flex tubing in there, but I corrected the angle and got it working good so it doesn't come up and backflow up out of the gutter. But aside from that one, I fixed it. I checked it. It rained really hard today, and I ran it, and everything's good. So now I can start covering up the pipes and fix the sprinklers, and hopefully start getting my yard back to normal, and start planting some grass and stuff. So it's
nice.
it's a satisfying project to know I've completed it. So
good deal.
But that's about it. That's about it for me, man.
Yeah. All right.
What you been up to?
Not a whole lot. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. I like I said, I went down to my dad's retirement ceremony in Virginia. Ate up some time, just long drive, quick turnaround. So taking away my time to be watching things and stuff like that. But I have been grinding out Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order over the past couple days.
Nice.
And I wanted to finish it before we hopped on tonight. I wasn't quite able to get there. There was one particular boss fight that I got stuck at for about 2 hours.
Damn.
So I kept working, and I finally beat the boss. So that's good. I think I am set to revisit one of the planets, but I think it's the final set of missions. I think it's the last set of things that are happening for the story portion of the game. So I might finish it tonight. We'll see.
So was your boss optional, or was your boss like part of the story?
Boss is part of the story.
And then you got to go and finish up the story.
And then not the final boss, I think, but a boss within the game.
The penultimate boss.
I think we talked about it in the last episode, and I think I was where you were at. So I'm pretty sure I'm well past where you were then, because I've probably played maybe 6-7 hours over the past couple days, if I had to guess.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really trying to get through the storyline. I secretly want to go replay The Last of Us and then hop on Last of Us Part 2, because I've had it and it's sitting on my shelf for a little while now, and I really want to go through, but I want to beat Star Wars, because I figure if I take it out of the PS4, it's unlikely it goes back in if I start something else. So I'm trying to work my way through it. So I'll reserve final thoughts for everything until I do finally get a chance to finish it.
Okay.
It's really the only thing, other than watching The Old Guard and doing a little bit of prep for our upcoming Patreon episode that I've been doing kind of on my own end. So, but Star Wars Jedi is good shit. If you get the chance to go back and play through it and finish it up at some point. Maybe we'll do a story conversation on that at one point. We're not going to do an episode or anything like that, but we can talk about it in a little bit more depth if you want, because it's cool. It's good Star Wars shit. There's some cool stuff that it does with the storyline that I think I enjoyed. It's pretty neat. So
we'll talk about it. I'm hopefully I can get it beat. I told Sarah I need to really hunker down and get it beat because I've had it for almost a year now and I'm still trying to finish it.
I mean, I looked at my trophies and I started it 3 months ago, so I've been, I've been dawdling about with it for quite some time.
I really want to put God of War back in and finish that shit.
Yeah,
I got to start that over. But yeah, so
yeah, there's a lot of things that it's tough. We get it, Relationships are hard work. You got housekeeping, you got lots of projects and stuff too. So it's like video games, unfortunately, sometimes come on the back burner. And then, maybe the 2 free hours you do have, you're watching the old guard. So you can just do the damn thing.
Right. So
I completely sympathize. So yeah, I've been trying to take advantage of some free time that I've had recently to play Star Wars. So I'm almost done with it. So since I don't really have a whole lot on my end to talk about, I do think it's a good opportunity to jump into a new edition of the Listener's Corner. And you guessed it, Bruce Brown has written into the Listener's Corner yet again. He's keeping the Listener's Corner section afloat single-handedly at this point. And I guess maybe I should say, so people know what the hell's going on, Listener's Corner is our platform that we're trying to get going for people to engage with us, our listeners to engage with us, I guess, particularly, and talk about anything they've done recently in terms of movies they've watched, TV shows they've watched, anything at this point. We happily invite people to reach out to us either personally or through the podcast. Watch, review, repeat at gmail.com is our official email. If you'd like to email us anything, we look at that, go from there. Otherwise, just you can send us stuff on Twitter, Facebook, and such. So anyway, Bruce Brown did have some thoughts on The Old Guard on Netflix.
What's he say?
He says he liked it overall, felt it could have been better in a few spots, but liked the concept and the story moved along fast enough. And of course, Charlize Theron is awesome. So I think we're pretty much in agreement with him there. It sounds like that's. I think we're really kind of on the same page there. And this was, I think, somewhat said in response to one of our episodes where I talked about Lady Gaga's newest album, Chromatica. He said he listened to the new album, liked it, and he added that he was not a Gaga fan but was converted years ago. And he recommends that our listeners pull up Lady Gaga's appearance on the Howard Stern show. He says it's her with Howard and just a piano. It's a great interview and that she's great. And Gaga really won him over with her amazing voice and talent. So I think we had a similar experience with A Star Is Born, kind of being that like breakthrough moment.
That's right.
But at least I did. But sounds like his came a little bit earlier than ours did. At least mine did. Other than that, he says The Wrong Missy is awesomely funny. Highly recommend it. I don't know anything about it. Not sure if you do.
Nope, never heard of that.
I don't know either. The Night Clerk on Netflix was okay. If you can't find anything else to watch, which relatable, but not one to put on the list. He says Helen Hunt looks like a different person. Might have had some work done, but not good work. he has an ellipses in there, but not good work in there.
So The Wrong Missy is starring David Spade.
Okay.
And Lauren Lupkus.
Okay. Is it a TV show or a movie?
It is a movie.
All right. On Netflix or anything? Or
Netflix.
Where's that?
It's a Netflix show. Disaster strikes when a man invites his dream girl to an island resort, but a previous blind date shows up instead.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess if it's awesomely funny, I wouldn't have pegged that for a David Spade film, but what are you going to do?
So who had work done that wasn't very good? I'm sorry. I was looking at
Helen Hunt. Helen Hunt was who he identified from The Night Clerk.
Helen Hunt.
So I can neither confirm nor deny, but I'll let you do some research. His last 2 bullet points, he put bullet points in this email. The last 2 bullet points, I think, are highly relevant to your interests, my good sir.
Okay, I'm listening.
He says the latest season of Bosch was great.
The Bosch monologues.
and he didn't add anything, but I can tell that he only put it in there so that he could elicit a reaction from you. And finally, he says that you need to watch The Boys, which is totally in your wheelhouse and is really good.
Back to pedal back to my catching up section. I have indeed started The Boys. I am 4 episodes into The Boys, and The Boys is fucking incredible.
Plowing through it.
Yeah. I watched most of the season in one day, or half the season, I guess. I think there's 80 episodes. So it is definitely 100% my shit. I am.
All right, good. So the recommendation was well-founded.
Yes, for sure. I am thoroughly enjoying it. So if I wasn't playing Star Wars, I would be watching The Boys.
Watching The Boys. All right, good deal. All right, well, we'll have a fuller conversation on The Boys when season 2 rolls around. Then sounds like. That's it. That's it for the listeners' corner. So if you two want to chime in, have some thoughts on The Boys, Star Wars Jedi, the Old Guard, anything along those lines, just
starting sometime after August 7th or whatever, we might be able to live stream. Maybe we'll do a live stream. Maybe we'll put forth the effort to try to figure out a live stream for the fucking Green Knight, or what is it? It's the Green Knight. Is it the Green Knight?
Yeah, the board game.
The Green Knight role-playing game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll have to look into that and we'll figure it out. All right. I think that might do it for the episode. What do you think?
That's it.
A nice, relatively short watch, review, repeat episode. I know.
Brisk.
It's been so long. All right. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. Patreon front, we are on Patreon. $2 a month gets you access to early access to all of our regular episodes, as well as timed exclusive access to our bonus episodes that we do. We are hard at work watching some Studio Ghibli films in preparation for our next bonus episode, which will be the 1990s block of films from Studio Ghibli, which is a total of 7 films. I've been doing a little bit of homework on that front with some of my free time, and I will reserve thoughts until we get an opportunity to talk about those films in some detail. So I'm looking forward to doing that with you, Andrew.
I am looking forward to doing it with you as well.
Probably a couple weeks away, if I had to guess at this point. So maybe August-ish, maybe early August is probably going to be our goal. I know we said early July once upon a time, but 7 films is a lot.
That's a lot to watch.
In the meantime, we do have a bonus episode that is still currently available it was our COVID-19 pandemic special, 6 films about viruses. So check that out if you're a supporter on Patreon. And our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on Twitter at WRRPod. We are on Facebook just by searching for Watch Review Repeat. Again, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions on anything, please send those our way to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com or any of our aforementioned social media accounts. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, which is licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode, well, I think we're going to take a week off for sure, because I think Andrew is going on a little bit of a vacay. In just a few days, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're going to give him some time to relax as much as possible. I don't think there's a whole lot of content really heading our way in the near future. So we'll probably take the week off and then be back with something. We've tinkered with the idea of covering the Cursed Netflix TV show with Catherine Langford, King Arthur.
Yeah, that sounds cool
stuff. I think the reviews on it have been solid, if not amazing. So maybe
solid,
that's one
if not amazing.
Well, I think solid, but not amazing, I think is probably the more accurate way of putting that. Sorry,
Okay.
I think that was a misleading statement. I think they've been good, but not great. I think they've been totally fine. Is probably where it looks like it's likely to land. But I think it's 10 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be one of those we give it an episode or two and say, no.
Could we not
maybe we do something else. I don't know.
Could we not do The Boys and then cover season 2 of The Boys?
We could do The Boys. We could
well, it's been a long time since you watched The Boys, right? We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out behind the scenes.
We'll figure it out behind the scenes. We'll have something. I think that's the bottom line, is we'll have something. But in a couple weeks' time. So until then, everyone, stay safe. And watch The Old Guard on Netflix, watch Palm Springs on Hulu, watch Hamilton on fucking Disney Plus, listen to our episodes on all of the above if you haven't already. And we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Minjay.